Cars are driven on the same roads, but they aren't always driven the same way. Technology is helping more people reach their destination than ever before, including those with a disability. Even if you have limited mobility due to paraplegia, MS, a stroke, amputation, or another disability, there is a wide variety of driving equipment options available today. In this video, we'll talk about the available options. From loading ramps to hand controls to equipment storage. Whether it's mechanical equipment or high-tech equipment that you need, there is most likely a combination of options specifically designed to adapt the vehicle to your needs.
We do everything from a spinner knob that enables somebody to turn the steering wheel with one hand with ease, all the way to high-tech conversions that are very sophisticated electronic adaptations of a vehicle that enable even a quadriplegic to drive.
I don't know that there's any really cookie-cutter way to say if you have this illness or this injury, then you've got to, this is the equipment that you're going to have to get.
The availability of equipment may be a question mark if it's something unusual, but as a mobility equipment dealer, we stock a lot of these parts ourselves, and they're readily available for installation.
The general classification of driving equipment is categorized as mechanical or high-tech. Mechanical equipment, such as hand controls, link directly to the factory equipment. They allow the user to access the same equipment as an able-bodied person through mechanical linkage. Higher-tech equipment starts involving computers, such as drive-by-wire, electronic servo motors, where they may have a mini steering wheel or an electronic gas and brake lever, even a joystick, for example. One of the highest tech levels, voice interactive controls for turning on your signals and shifting into gear. When it comes to utilizing a vehicle, it's important to consider personal loading and mobility device loading. So the person has to get in and out of the vehicle, and they have to get anything that they need with them, such as a wheelchair, maybe a walker or a cane.
Two of the most common options for actually conversion vehicles are either minivans or full-size vans. A minivan characteristically have an automatic ramp with an automatic door. A full-size van will have a lift installed in the side door and may or may not have automatic doors, although it's an option on any of these vehicles, particularly for the driver who prefers not to have an attendant.
The lift or ramp is for those folks who are in a wheelchair, and probably for those folks who are in a power chair, who have a difficult time with transfers, or it's just better for them not to spend energy on a transfer. We all have a certain amount of energy each day, and if we spend it in transfers, we can't do the other things we want to or need to do. And
if you have a conventional sedan, well, there are instances that smaller chairs and scooters can be carried in a trunk or on the exterior of the vehicle in an exterior lift that is attached into the trailer hitch. There is a company that makes a device called a chair topper, and for most sedans it'll allow an individual to carry a manual wheelchair on the roof of their car. It entails placing a couple straps on your wheelchair at the side of the vehicle, operating the lift with a handheld pendant, and as the chair goes up, it folds up, lays over on its side, closes up, and is sealed up against the elements.
The equipment that person would use could range from what we call an automotive turning seat, a seat that swivels out of the vehicle and down to ground level, where the wheelchair user would transfer into that seat and then ride that seat up into the driver or passenger position. And that might be accompanied by what we call a stowage lift that would lift the wheelchair either into the bed of a pickup truck or the back of an SUV. And that individual could also get what we call a power topper, or a topper that opens up to enable that wheelchair to go into the bed of the pickup and then come down to protect it from the elements. Once inside, there's a variety of wheelchair securement devices that could be installed either in the center of the vehicle or in the passenger or driver location. And then if the person is a driver, there's a variety of other equipment. For example, a paraplegic may transfer into the driver's seat with a special seat base that enables that to occur, and then ride that seat base into the driving position and then drive with mechanical hand controls or other equipment. Other individuals who roll into the driver position may drive from their wheelchairs.
One of the most useful inventions in the world of adapted vehicles and adapted driving is a product called the Easy Lock. This is a electronic securement system that allows a driver simply to maneuver their wheelchair into position, and it will automatically lock into the floor. When he arrives at his destination to get released, we have installed a release button on the dashboard. He presses a single button, backs out, and he's on his way.
Now sometimes that means, though, that the vehicle has to be modified, the floor has to be dropped, or the ceiling has to be raised. But oftentimes some of the newer manufactured vans have options where the floor can be lifted out of the place, or the driver or the passenger side seat can be just pulled right out of place, and you can just put that lockdown in there and you're ready to go.
In terms of actually operating the vehicle, the primary controls are gas, brake, and steering.
The application of left foot gas pedals versus hand controls. This is something that would typically be decided by a certified driving rehabilitation specialist.
I think for people who are intact visually and cognitively, a left foot accelerator is a great device. Because it's just really switching the function of the gas from the right to the left foot.
Left foot accelerators may assist with a person who can no longer use their right foot to manage the original factory gas pedal.
I think recently it's probably about 50-50 split in people who benefit from it and those who probably would do better learning to use their left foot onto the gas and brake pedal in the standard manner, or maybe go to a hand control. As far as the hand controls, they all have a sensitivity, a certain amount of finesse that you have to get to use them. There are two styles that I use primarily. It's always pushing forward for the brake, and then acceleration is kind of like a motorcycle accelerator, and then the other one is more pushing down towards the person's thigh.
Some of our customers require high-tech driving equipment, and that can range from what we call an EGB, or electronic gas brake, which would be a lever that controls both brake and gas. Those individuals may need to steer with a very small steering wheel,
which is placed horizontally at the driver's right wrist and can navigate the entire car with small motions of that six-inch steering wheel, which also is typically going to be either reduced effort or low effort or zero effort steering.
Others may need just a joystick that controls gas, brake, and steering.
There are a variety of ways of accessing secondary controls, such as blinkers, wipers, lights, still essential for operation of the vehicle. This can be done through extended levers, crossing over to the other side, so you maybe, for example, you use your right hand to use the turn signals. There are electronic switches that can be placed in other parts of the vehicle.
There are actually several different kinds of switches, some which are independent that you can place almost anywhere in the vehicle. You can make it an elbow pressure switch or a head switch, or
there might be a little computer console right next to them that can start the vehicle and control wipers, lights, shifting.
And there are even voice controls that will operate the secondaries for the vehicle.
I have on my vehicle a switch that attaches to the hand control that operates the turn signals, the horn, the wipers, but you can really assign almost any function to them that you want to. So as you're steering with your right hand, left hand on the gas and brake, and then you can also with a couple fingers, do your wipers, do your horn, set your radio, that sort of thing. So
it could be everything from the ignition key that we put an extension on, to the windshield wipers, to the light system, the heat, fan, air conditioning system. There are a whole range of options for secondary controls and reaching those secondary controls, or otherwise making them electronic, and they are really depending on the nature of the person's disability.
Having heard many of the options available from the equipment installers, you can now be more confident in discussing what you may be able to use with a specialist. You may not be limited to public transportation or other assistance. Talk to a specialist to see if you can regain the freedom of mobility you deserve.